Hey everyone, the Peaceful Gamer here. I've fallen down. I've fallen down and injured myself. So yeah, this introduction is as peaceful and as gamering as I can. For today's pre-game snack, I'm gonna read you a story. Oh, I've fallen down. Oh, remain peaceful though. And then after the story, we jump directly into Pokemon Showdown, obviously, but oh.
The villa overlooked the sea. The richness of the salty sea air permeated the calm, dusky rows of pines. A light, steady breeze was playing about the orange trees, and here and there was plucking off a colourful blossom, as if with careful fingers. Everything was shimmering in sharp, delineated contours and had become a luminous mosaic sunk into the deep blue azure of the sky. The sun-dappled horizon, the hills on which dainty houses gleamed like white pearls, a lighthouse miles away that rose up steeply into the sky like a candle. The sea, in which far off in the distance white flashes of glimmering sails of isolated ships could only occasionally be seen, was caressing with the agile flow of its waves the bottom of the stepped terrace over which the villa rose, extending ever deeper into the greenery of a vast, shadowy garden and losing itself in the calmness of a fairy tale park. The morning heat was beating down on the sleeping house, from which a narrow gravel path ran like a white line to a cool vantage point below, which the waves were rumbling in wild, unceasing assaults, here and there throwing up shimmering drops of water that sparkled in the glaring sunlight like rainbow-coloured diamonds. The bright rays of the sun were broken up by the pines, standing close together as if in familiar conversation, that partly kept them away from a broad Japanese umbrella on which gay figures were depicted in sharp, unusual colours. A female figure was reclining in a straw lounge chair in the shade of the umbrella, comfortably nestling her graceful form in the resilient wickerwork. A slender hand without any rings was hanging down, as if forgotten, caressing with light, easy movements the gleaming silky fur of a dog, whilst the other hand was holding a book on which her dark eyes with their long black eyelashes were concentrating their uninterrupted attention, the suggestion of a restrained smile on her face. They were large, restless eyes, whose beauty was heightened by a subtly veiled glow. Overall, the strong, attractive effect created by that oval, sharply cut face wasn't quite natural and uniform, but was rather the refined highlighting of particular points of beauty that had been cultivated with careful, sensitive coquetry. The apparently disorderly tangle of fragrant, shimmering curls was the painstaking construction of an artist, and the quiet smile that quivered about her lips as she read, exposing the white, bare enamel of her teeth, was the result of several years of practice in front of a mirror that had now already become a fixed, unalterable habit. There's a quiet crackling in the sand. She looks over at who's coming along without changing her position, like a cat bathing in a dazzling warm flood of sunlight that just lazily blinks its phosphorant eyes without moving. The footsteps approach quickly, and a liveried servant is standing in front of her holding out a slim business card and then stepping back, waiting a little. She reads the name with the expression of surprise that one has when greeted in the street by a stranger in a most familiar manner. For a moment, little wrinkles dig in the sharp black eyebrows, indicating intense reflection, and then suddenly, a gleam plays over her whole face and the eyes flash with high-spirited brightness as she recalls long gone by, completely forgotten youthful days whose images the name has reawakened in her. Forms and dreams regain solidity and become as clear as reality. "Oh, I see," she suddenly exclaimed, turning towards the servant. "Monsieur would like to speak with me, of course." The servant went away with quiet, submissive steps. For a minute there was just silence, just the tireless wind softly singing in the treetops that were looming overhead full of heavy noontime gold. And then suddenly there were supple footsteps echoing energetically on the gravel path. A long shadow running over to her feet, and a tall male figure was standing before her, who had briskly gotten up from her reclining chair. They looked at each other in the eye, then he quickly glanced at her elegant figure, while a soft, ironic smile was shining in her eyes. "It's really sweet of you to have thought of me," she began, holding out her slender, finely groomed hand that he respectfully brushed with his lips. "Dear Madame, I'll be honest with you, because this is the first time we've met again for a long time, and also, I fear, for long years to come. It's quite by chance that I'm here, as the name of the owner of this manor that I was inquiring about because of its splendid location made me aware of your presence here, and so I'm really here with a certain guilty conscience. But no less welcome all the same, for I too couldn't recall your name at first, although it was once rather important to me." Now they were both smiling. The soft fragrance of their first, half-concealed youthful love had awakened in them with all its intoxicating sweetness, like a dream about which one scornfully purses one's lips on waking up, although one would just like to relive it, to dream it again. The lovely dream of half measures that one only dares to dream about and doesn't dare to experience, that only hold out promise and don't come true. They continued to talk, but there was already a warmth in their voices, a tender intimacy that only that special kind of rosy, already half-faded secret can create. With soft words into which now and then a gay burst of laughter cast its rolling pearls, they spoke of things past, of forgotten poems, of faded flowers, of lost and discarded ribbons, little tokens of love they'd given each other in that little town where they spent their youth. The old stories that had been silent and covered with dust like forgotten sagas echoed in their hearts and were slowly, very slowly imbued with a wafting, weary solemnity. The fading memories of their bygone youthful love put a deep, almost sad seriousness into their conversation. And his darkly melodic ringing voice vibrated softly as he recounted. "Over there in America, I learned that you were engaged when your marriage had probably already been consummated." She didn't answer anything. Her thoughts were 10 years back into the past. A sultry silence weighed on both of them for a few long moments. And then she asked softly, in a very low voice, "What did you think of me then?" He looked up in surprise. "I can tell you frankly, for tomorrow I'm going back to my new country. I wasn't angry with you. There weren't any wild or hostile thoughts, for life had then already cooled the raging fires of my love down to a low burning flame of sympathy. I didn't understand you, I just pitied you." A slight streak of dark red flashed across her cheeks, and the gleam in her eyes became intense as she exclaimed excitedly, "Pity me? I don't know why." "Because I thought of your future husband, that indolent fellow who was always obsessed by making money. Please don't contradict me, for I don't at all want to offend your husband whom I've always respected. And because I thought of you, the girl you were when I left you. Because I couldn't imagine how you so solitary, with your ideals, who had only contempt and irony for everyday life, could become the respectable wife of an ordinary man." "And why would I have married him then, if all that were true?" "I didn't know for sure. Perhaps he possessed hidden qualities that superficially weren't evident, and that only began to appear in intimate relations. And that was the easy solution to the puzzle, for there was one thing I couldn't and wouldn't believe." "Which was?" "That you would have taken him for his count's title and his millions. That was the only impossibility for me." It was as if she hadn't heard the last phrase, for with her fingers held out in front of her, her dark pink fingernails gleaming in the sunlight like purple shell, she was gazing far out into the veiled horizon where the sky dipped its pale blue cloak into the dark splendor of the waves. He too was lost in deep thought and had almost forgotten his last words when she suddenly, barely audibly said, turning away from him, "And yet, that's what it was." He looked in surprise, almost shocked, at her who in a slow, clearly artificially calm way had again settled down in her lounge chair and was continuing to talk in a calmly monotonous tone, imbued with a quiet wistfulness, barely moving her lips. "You hadn't understood me back then, when I was still the little girl with the shy words of a child. Not even you who was so close to me. Perhaps I myself didn't either. I still think about it often now, and still don't understand myself, for what do women still know of their miraculous girlish souls, whose dreams are like delicate slender white blossoms that the first breath of reality blows away? And I wasn't like all the other girls who were dreaming of manly heroes in the force of their youth, who would transform their longings into glowing happiness, and in their unspoken premonitions into blissful knowledge, who would bring them salvation from the uncertain, unclear, incomprehensible, and yet palpable distress that casts its shadow over their girlish days, becoming ever more somber, threatening, and burdensome. I never went through all that. My dreams were directed elsewhere, towards the hidden grove that was lying behind the opaque mists of the future. My dreams were particular. I always used to dream of myself as a royal child, like the ones in the fairy tales, whose play with sparkling radiant gems, whose hands are plunged deep in the golden glow of fairy tale treasures, and whose flowing clothes are of extraordinary value. I dreamt of luxury and magnificence because that's what I loved. The pleasure I experienced when my hands could roam over delicate, softly singing silks, when my fingers could plunge into the deep, dark down of heavy velvets as in a dream. I was happy when I could wear jewelry like little necklaces on my slender fingers, trembling with pleasure, when white stones shimmered from the thick locks of my hair like pearls of foam. My highest ambition was to lie back into the soft seats of an elegant carriage. I was intoxicated then by an artistic beauty that made me despise my real life. I hated myself when I was in everyday clothes, modest and simple like a nun, and I often stayed home for days because I was ashamed of my ordinariness. I hid in my narrow, ugly room. I, whose most beautiful dream was to live in solitude by the sea in a property that was both splendid and artistic, in shady green arcades of leaves where the baseness of working day didn't reach out its dirty claws, where there was a rich peacefulness, almost like here. Then my husband made possible what my dreams wanted, and I married him precisely because he was able to do that. She's fallen silent, and her face is glowing with bacchanalian beauty. The gleam in her eyes has become deep and menacing, and the redness of her cheeks is flaring even hotter. There's a deep silence. There's just the monotonous rhythmic tones of the gleaming waves down below that are throwing themselves against the steps of the terrace as if against a beloved breast. Then he says quietly, as if to himself, "But love?" She has heard what he said. A slight smile crosses her lips. "Do you still have all your ideals? All those you carried off with you into that distant world back then? Have they all remained with you undamaged, or have some died and withered away? Or weren't they finally torn out of you and flung into the manure where thousands of wheels whose carriages were striving toward the goals of life crushed them down? Or haven't you lost any?" He nods bleakly and remains silent. And suddenly he brings her hand to his lips and silently kisses it. Then he says in a heartfelt voice, "Farewell." She responds in kind to him, vigorously and honestly. She feels no shame in having revealed her soul and deepest secret to someone whom she's been a stranger for years. Smiling, she looks at him going away, and thinks of the words he'd spoken about love, and the past again comes between her and the present with silent, inaudible steps. And suddenly, she thinks that he could have guided her life, and her thoughts paint that bizarre idea in bright colours. And slowly, very slowly, imperceptibly, the smile on her dreaming lips dies away.
Okay, so we're jumping into a Gen 2 game. It's pretty gamer, I'll be honest, with Bug Poison versus Fire. Hidden Power Grass from my Fire Pokemon, but Fire Blast, what's my special attack like? 211, pretty cool. They may be faster though. I've got better Pokemon at the bottom there. Their level is higher, so that's a significant increase. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that they haven't yet moved, so... And click timer. So, let's have a peek here. Weak to Fire. Let's try Fire Blast, and just hope that I'm slightly faster and can do a decent bit of damage to their Beedrill. They may trade out though, because they see Flareon is weak. I should maybe predict that in the future. If they're up against a weaker one, I could presume a trade out and switch to someone else. But again, a fire move in randoms on a fire Pokemon. I don't know how rare that is. Maybe it's very common. But exactly what I predicted after the fact happened. Did a decent chunk, but not enough. I've got leftovers. They've got water. They're a water electric, which is lame. But I do need to just see what they're allergic to. Grass, ground. Grass. I don't know if any of these moves are. Synthesis sounds it, but that could be a passive move, or whatever you call it. So I'm gonna go for it anyway. Magnanium did nothing to me. You ain't got nothing on me. Synthesis can't miss. Restores half its. Perhaps ground is worth it. What's your attack like? As good as your defense. Body slam has a chance to paralyze you, but you have a high chance of paralyzing me. I'm giving it a go though. Heracross might have been a shout though. Was not a shout, but paralyzed. Perfect. We'd love to see that. 115 to 175. 174. But that's before the modifiers, so that's kind of cool. I'm gonna have a quick look into Heracross here, because we have no idea what's going on here. Flying. Resists ground. I thought I had an Articuno, but I didn't. My Crobat's full health. I thought I started with a Crobat. Maybe I didn't. How confusing. Do they have haze? Do they have anything useful? They do have haze, which is quite useful. Protect. Wing attack, which is a flying move. What's your attack like? I should have checked your speed. I know you're fine, Crobat. Come on, try something though. You may get traded out though, which is unfortunate. Yep. But again, getting hit with a very resisted Lantern. And I could play this game all day. I don't really mind jumping in with Magnium or whatever the fuck. Jumpluff is flying though, which I didn't realise. Had high hidden flower, blah, 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 blah. But my attacks, my Pokemon seem to be quite fast compared to theirs. So, let's see what damage they try and do to me here. It missed. It missed. And so, here what we're going to do is the Body Slam again, or the Earthquake. I want to try the Earthquake with the Heracross again. Crazy, resisted. It's alright though, we're just going in circles pretty much. They resist bug, grass, and ground. So, that's pretty disappointing. Let's just up my sword stance and see what happens. I almost fucking die. Is this worth doing? No, I die if they do that again. So, who is resistant? Who is resistant? I want to say Lickitung might be. Return, sword, protect, earthquake, flying. So maybe I'll have a quick look here. They have turned the timer on, so... But they're normal, so it's... not really a worry there, I don't think. I don't mind showing my Pokemon. I don't mind at all, to be honest. Earthquake is quite nice to have, so I might just keep upping my sword dance a little bit here. That's fine by me, because I can always haze you. And then I've got my return here. Equal to the user's happiness, or rounded down to 1. Base power 102. Does half their health. Megahorn does a hell of a lot more, though. A hell of a lot more. Is it worth me trying to hit them again? Probably not, but I'll try Protect, just to see what he does. Can't move. That would have been useful to play an attack then. It would have been far more useful to do that. So Heracross, I don't think can really do much to my Jumpluff. But again, can with Megahorn. I'm struggling a bit here, because I don't really know what I can do to counter Megahorn. My attack is there, but Heracross, which I think is just here, very weak to flying. I guess I try it, and we get the Quagsire. Awful. Awful. Just reading all my moves there. Do I have any electric type moves? Quagsire is ground. Quagsire is ground and water, very weak to grass. Leech Seed and paralyzes it. This move does not ignore type immunity. Right. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I think that's fine. I will die here, though. So, I think it is worth me trading out to someone a little better. So Quagsire is allergic to grass, but Magnanium is very low, which is disappointing. I don't really know what Growth is, though. So Growth could be a awesome move there. Fuck. Got Poison, but Leech Seed should protect me from that for a little while. And I think Surf is probably my best bet here. And I can always rest. Growth raises the attack by 1, so Surf him. Again, should sap him a bit, but he's sleeping. Which is okay by me. Surf does no damage to you. Does no damage at all, actually. Because you're an electric water type. Which is frustrating. It's very frustrating, actually. Again, my like flying and like whatever types are a little ill at the moment. Yeah, immediately killed that one. Was a mistake doing that. Was a mistake doing that. If only I had like a heal bell or something. I should be faster. Oh, yeah, guaranteed faster, so I get my health back a bit. But we don't know this. We do know this a little bit. That's fine. I can trade out again, because Heracross is here. Again, searching the Heracross, because I'm awful at remembering what they're weak to. So I bring Crobat out again, try and scare him a bit. Can't move. We'll trade in someone else to counter my wing attack. So Toxic is probably my best bet here. Toxic poisoned that guy. Crobat is poison flying, weak to electric, ice, and psychic and rock. I'm going to bring Lickitung out. And almost die. Paralyzed, actually. That's not great. If I have sleep, that would be ideal. I don't. I don't have sleep at all. So it might be worth me bringing someone better to the stage. Unfortunately, I'm not sure who that is other than Crobat. Maybe our guy there. Is Magnanium much better? Resisted, yeah, I guess that resisted a little bit. Lantern. Do I presume a trade out here, or do I... What moves do they have? They've got Surf and Thunder, so they Thunder me. Which is not ideal. But that was a
I think, the right move there. My 2x attack, and I'm faster than him. I think I can pull off an earthquake here, which should... I forgot. I absolutely forgot it. Oh, that's miserable. That is miserable. Fuck it, Flareon. Again. Weak to fire, but it's not great. I think they take me out here, though. Oh, I kill them, though. That's fine. I should have done that earlier. I shouldn't have killed my Magnanium. Unfortunately, I did. Which is disappointing. So Quagsire, I believe, is... I should just have all of the tabs open. Very weak to grass. Asleep. Do I pass this turn? Because Flareon is quite useful against Quagsire and Lantern now, I realise. So getting rid of the Quagsire is quite good. And we can see what Ven's one does here. Dunsparce is a normal type Pokemon. I don't really want to waste time checking. But my special attack is higher. I might want to do growth at some point. Half-healthing it is useful. Glare is fun. I'll hit him again with that Fire Blast. It would have been better to up my attack. So he obviously did that for a reason. The reason I'm not particularly aware of. He probably has a good water move, but I know he's got a great one there. So I'll just try my goddamn best to just kill this guy. Which was worth doing. Indeed. So, Beedrill now. Beedrill's speed is significantly better than mine. Do I do growth? Do I trade out here? The user is replaced in this party. The user stage is transferred to it. Probably a questionable choice here. It's a Lickitung, but I'm wondering if I remove the Paralyzed from it. I might be completely incorrect about that. But, yeah, I was. Okay. Never mind. Beedrill's gonna kill my Lickitung. Yep. Obviously. Vaporeon is poisoned. Flareon is that. Beedrill, I think, is resistant to flying. I'm bringing Flareon back. Which is a mistake on my end, but... is okay. Is okay. I have an idea here, and it might pay off, but I'm probably doing it at the wrong moment in time. Especially since this is my... well... not my final ice move or whatever, but... it's quite useful. Let's hope this works out. In my favour. But this person is... rating 199, 1099. Oh, you can see my OBS there, recording the game. Hidden Flower, Hidden Power even. Growth, Speed Attack. Awful choice there. I can pass this on to someone though. Which might be worth doing that. I need Beedrill up here. I don't know what that was. Because I don't want to lose the time. Fire flying, so I could... baton passing to someone else would have been an idea, but I forgot that counts as a move. So I fucked that. And I should really just kill the substitute, because I've let him fill the heal with a substitute. He can do that again. Never mind though. I think he will sludge me. More than likely. If that was his move. Yeah, Sludge Bomb. Hurt by poison is fine. Wing attack was only to kill the substitute though. So right now I'm not too worried. I'll protect myself a little bit here. There's not much I can do other than hope I can pull a couple protects off. Maybe do the wing attack again.
Awful move there, actually. I hate that. I'm going to jump into Vaporeon. I know they're electric. If they have Sleep Talk, I'm fucked. But it's okay otherwise. That was okay. That was okay. I could resist that. And so my goal here is to maybe grow my attack a little bit. Yep, cool. That works for me. Take a lot of damage there. Pull off an attack and then sleep. It really depends on what the Lantern hits. 142, 149 even. My special attack is increased though. I believe that attack is better there. But it is dependent on Vens and what Vens does here. So we patiently sit, peacefully and gamingly. We wait. And hope this guy doesn't wake up. I die to poison. I die to poison. Yep. Awesome. I think Thunder hits me. I think Thunder hits me and it murders me. Throw a Toxic out. Hope I can do some damage with that. But the Thunder is super effective. I'll protect myself a little bit here. Hope I can pull off a couple protects. But other than that, I think I'm done, unfortunately. I could have played that a lot better without feeding my Magnanium, which unfortunately is my downfall in this match. It's very unfortunate. May as well just try. I wonder how many times I can attempt that, because he can just sleep. He can ultimately just sleep and yeah. He can PP stall, he can do whatever he likes. Because I presume any minute now he will. No, there we go. That's me. That's me. Immediately left though, didn't let me congratulate them on the epic victory royale. That was disappointing. I played that fairly well, but I let go of my Magnanium, my precious little character there. I didn't read enough into Jumpluff, and unfortunately fucked myself for the rest of the game. Lickitung I just used as cannon fodder. I had a real chance for a little while, but unfortunately not. I also think I played poorly with the Earthquake on Magnanium and Heracross. I kept throwing attacks into Heracross, which I shouldn't have, and that ultimately was my downfall. But we remain peaceful, and we keep gaming, because that's what we do as peaceful gamers. And I hope we all unite and just accept and embrace that as peaceful gamers, this is everything we want and more. Everything we want and more in a game. Because, you know, from the bottom, we can only rise. From 1000 elo, we can only get taller, bigger and better. And I am fortunate to continue playing this game, despite doing so badly. It's all good though. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Treat yourself with kindness. Bye-bye.